MVP interview series brought to you by Career Connect Washington and the Apple STEM Network. I'm your host, Carrie Horning, Career Connected Learning Specialist with NCSD 171. Our goal today is the same as every podcast that we run. It's simply to introduce our community partners throughout North Central Washington to one another. And as I do each week, I like to remind you that a win today looks like each of you leaving with a greater understanding of the work that's being done all around North Central Washington and how you might get involved. So sit back, grab your lunch, get ready for an extra dose of professional nourishment. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with both Carly Murray and Susan Adams. Carly is the Apprenticeship Program Coordinator and HR Manager with Cascade Vet. I knew I was going to catch myself on that. We were practicing. So anyways, I'm going to keep rolling right past it. But Susan is the Managing Director for Skillsource. So Carly and Susan, welcome in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, one of my favorite parts of all of this is getting to do the interview. And we had just a few minutes before this started and came up with a little bit of a conversation about cars. And I can totally identify with that. But what cracked me up is Susan mentioned her folks purchased a 1978 blue Thunderbird for she and her siblings. And she's thinking, what parent in their right mind does that? And I was kind of laughing in an agreement, but my mind went to Burt Reynolds and the Thunderbird and Smokey and the Bandit when I actually looked it up, and it's a little bit more like Ray Liotta and Goodfellas. you could probably fit half your high school class in that car.
Well, first of all, Carrie, we got to just roll back a little bit because it wasn't Thunderbird, it was a Firebird.
Oh, Firebird! Then I was totally
It was
off.
a sports car. I mean, a Thunderbird. I would have had class in there, but no, it had bucket seats. This was a hot rod.
So it was more Smokey and the Bandit.
It was more Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay. All right, when I Googled Thunderbird, I'm thinking of V8 and a Thunderbird. Yeah, that's a good rig too, but okay, your parents, the 2 thumbs up for your parents. I'm gonna give that. So, all right, and then the rest of the car conversation then went to Carly, and she was saying that she had a 79 Plymouth van that they converted, she and her, at the time, boyfriend, correct?
Correct, yes.
Converted and lived in for 3 months, and that all went really well because they're married now. So 2 thumbs up there, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my! What was the hardest thing about living in a van with someone else?
I'll be honest, the smells.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I love it. I could not. I thought you were just gonna say living in the van, but that's good. That's very good.
Yeah. It was very close quarters, but thankful to have it still running today for weekend trips. But we won't be spending any more than probably a few days in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, I love those stories, and I love the car connection because I always tell a story about when I was 10, we lived back in the Midwest in Ohio, and my mom, she's an interior designer and was supposed to be going out getting one of those brand new rigs that they were calling a van. They'd never been, introduced before. And we ended up coming home in a 1980 convertible MGB. And we still have the car today. So so many great stories around that I won't get into on this podcast because we got lots to cover. So anyway, all right, ladies, are you ready to do this?
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go. So I did a little bit of homework, and that's why I'm so excited for today's interview, because I saw on the website for Cascade Vet that your motto is to teach, learn, and improve. And I love this so much because it really is just at the core of what we're doing here at the MVP series. So why is that so important to Cascade Vet? I'll ask Carly that.
Yeah, I love this as well. And I actually joined Cascade Vet last June. And that was one of the main things that drew me here, is because we have a set of values that we instill in every aspect of the organization and every position, including teaching and learning. And we believe that no matter what your experience level is, entry level or high level expertise in this field, that there's always room for improvement. So our employees are placed in situations to learn every day, but also teach others and train them to be the best in that area.
That's terrific. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So tell us a little bit about Cascade Veterinary Clinic. What goes on over there?
Yeah, so we are a local clinic. We have 3 locations in Wenatchee, East Wenatchee, and Leavenworth. We have 15 veterinarians right now. We're getting another one here in the summer. Along with an outstanding support staff, we practice both general practice and urgent care medicine here in the area.
Very nice. So we live out on a farm. We don't have that many pets, but unfortunately, when something goes wrong, it's usually pretty catastrophic. So I don't have a lot of experience with vets. What's on a daily basis, like who's your number one customer there? Are you seeing more dogs, more cats, big animals?
So we only see small animals and a handful of exotics. We're not a large animal veterinarian, but it's a mix of dogs and cats. We also see some lizards and snakes and birds. We have a really good Dr. Kelsey Roberts, and she sees our exotics here.
Very cool. Is that right there in Wenatchee or at one of the other locations?
In Wenatchee, yeah. And sometimes we see some like guinea pigs and hamsters and pocket pets as well.
Oh, good to know. All right, thank you. Okay, so we're here today really truly to talk about this amazing licensed veterinary technician apprenticeship program. So that's a mouthful. So I know a lot of hard work went into setting this program up. So I would like you to share with us everything that you can about it. Like, let's get into the big the big idea. What is it? What's it all about? And how can everybody get involved?
Yeah, so the licensed vet tech apprenticeship program, it stretches over 3 years. It includes 6,000 hours of on-the-job training, as well as 766 hours of related supplemental instruction. So that's including classroom and lab instruction hosted by Cascade Vet and also Wenatchee Valley College. Our apprentices train in-house here, so they have to be paid employees, which is really nice because the on-the-job training you do get paid for. And it's a small scale local program and it addresses the needs that we have in the community. The current programs in the state don't really meet the needs for the local demands for vet techs, especially in a rural area like ours. So the program allows our employees who otherwise aren't able to attend the traditional LVT schools over in Yakima or the West Side, Seattle, Bellingham, and they can attend ours and get paid on the job. So the traditional schools are about 2 years and they cost anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000. Ours is paid on the job, and the schooling with Wenatchee Valley College is anywhere between $750 to $1,500.
Wow, that is a big difference. So who can apply to do this? I mean, if I wanted to do it, could I apply?
Yeah, so anyone who has a high school diploma and is over 18 years old can apply. And anyone who wants to be trained as an LVT. You do have to be an employee of Cascade Vet, so we interview you like you'd be getting a job as a vet assistant.
Yeah, that's terrific. So what's the capacity for Cascade Vet? Like, how many apprentices could they actually support in-house?
Yeah, so it's a one-on-one mentorship with what they call a journey level worker. So journey levels is someone who is equal or above. So our journey levels are our current licensed veterinary technicians or our doctors. So right now we have our one apprentice and she's matched up with a licensed veterinary technician. Okay. So our capacity right now is anywhere between 4 and 10, and we're going to be growing.
Yeah. Very nice. So what's the long-term commitment? If somebody comes in and says, I want to do this program, is there a contract that requires them to stay a certain amount of time after they've completed it?
So we don't have a contract in place for after the completion of it, but it is a time commitment for 3 years. Mm-hmm. There is a way to grant prior learning experience and prior experience. You have to work for at least 1,000 hours within the apprenticeship program. And our committee is consisting of some of our employees and then a doctor over at WSU. And he helps us build the curriculum. So the committee gets together and we decide in a fair and equitable manner who gets these prior learning experience. So it is a commitment, but it's definitely worth it in the long run because licensed veterinary technicians are very needed all over the state and the nation. And once you graduate the program, you will sit for the VTNE, which is the Veterinary Technician National Exam. And once you take that, you become licensed and you can work anywhere across the state.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, and I know you mentioned it, but I want to say it again, for those who maybe are consuming this interview after the live aspect. Again, what's the time commitment on it in terms of hours of work? And you said 3 years, right?
Yes. So it's 3 years, 6,000 hours of on-the-job training. So that's 2,000 hours a year. And then there's also 766 hours of curriculum
Wow.
spread over the 3 years.
So those hours that are on site, are they literally, or is the apprentice, or are the apprentices literally working, with the animals in that moment, or is it more observation?
It is hands-on training, so they are working with the animals and they get one-on-one mentorship. So they're having the licensed vet tech work them through those skills.
Wow, that is incredible. I can't imagine anybody interested in this not.
Gary,
Yeah.
this is Susan, and I know I'm not supposed to be the one asking questions today, but I know a lot of our audience may be K-12, and I think it might be important for Carly to just touch on the veterinary assistant registered apprenticeship program, which high school students potentially are eligible for, and build into the vet tech program. We hadn't talked about that, but I think it's really worth mentioning.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that. Thank you, Susan. So we do have a vet assistant apprenticeship program as well. Essentially, it's the first year of our LVT program. It's 1 year, 2,000 hours of on-the-job training, and only 150 hours of curriculum. And it is kind of a feeder into that program, but you can be 16 years old and enter this program, and you don't need your high school degree yet because you can kind of build into it. It's really nice because we also have our minor permit here at Cascade, so we can employ minors and be able to train them while they're in high school.
That's amazing. So any high school students throughout North Central Washington?
They have to be in our area, so yes, but they have to be employed at one of our 3 local clinics.
Okay, so again, let's say that again, where are the 3 locations at?
We are in Wenatchee, East Wenatchee, and Leavenworth.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, which pretty much does cover, I mean, the NCESD covers the footprint of 29 different school districts, but that covers a lot of the territory. So that opens it up as long as there's, transportation. So that's great to know. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So,
and those other high schools out there, currently Carly's been working with Wenatchee High School to articulate their vet assistant course to the vet assistant course of Cascade Vet. And so, if there's other high schools out there that are either thinking about or currently have a vet assistant course, that can be prior learning experience for students. So I really encourage anybody that might be out there in the teaching or administrator with secondary schools to possibly contact Carly to partner in that articulation.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Carly, actually, that's another good point. In chat, would you mind putting your contact information? You can maybe even link in the web address for Cascade Vet. Anything that you want to put, go ahead and put that in chat in terms of contact. So
Yeah, I definitely will.
Okay, all right. While you're working on that, Susan, I've got a question for you now. So I know there's a lot of history that went into making this, whole program come to fruition. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been a conversation for about 5 years. So about 5 years ago, many individuals in education know Dennis Conger, who used to be CTE director at Wenatchee School District, worked for Career Connect Washington and the ESD as well. But he started the conversation with Julie Helixo, who was the executive director at Cascade Vet 5 years ago. Julie had a wonder. I wonder if LVT could be in a registered apprenticeship program. And that ask led us all the way to this project. Of course, there's a lot more around that conversation, but I think the important part of that is just being inquisitive and asking those questions when we're thinking about how might we solve workforce challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that too, because when you think about it, that's the whole idea. Like these challenges that we have, finding the staff and the employees for our industry partners, the answers are all right in our schools. So how do we make bridge that gap? So I love that, and not being afraid to ask the question and then put in the work to go after it, which kind of leads to the next question of, specifically then, what role did Skillsource play in helping to bring the LVT program to, into a reality?
Right. Yeah, great question. I really like to talk about how this is a perfect private public partnership. Cascade had a workforce need. They identified that the training institutions in the state of Washington only met about 25% of the need, the demand for LVTs. And Carly also alluded to that we're in a rural area. So in order for individuals to get this training, they had to drive a minimum of 2 hours to, uproot their families and move. So Cascade Vet really identified this need, this training gap, and started the conversation with Skillsource. And that is where Skillsource was able to come along as the helping provide workforce solutions. We were able to get the Career Connect Washington grant. We partnered together to bring resources to the table, along with utilizing some of our workforce innovation grants. So those resources helped us come together. The other resource that we really brought to the table is our expertise in helping them navigate applying for registered apprenticeship, and also working with the Veterinary Board of Governors through all the some of the challenges, some of the changes in law that had to be navigated. So we all worked together, and Skillsource really helped play kind of that guidance role.
I appreciate that, because we're here in this podcast, and maybe that was a minute or 2 minute answer, but if we dial back to that conversation that this started 5 years ago, it's a lot of kudos to all of you for the patience and the perseverance to make it happen. And it's such a great program for our students and our adults. Again, if somebody wanted to kind of restart their career and chose this as their pathway, it sounds like they can jump on board as well. So that's terrific. So yeah, thank you all for your hard work. I as Career Connected Learning, for sure love that. So I didn't want that quick answer to really undo the fact that lots of hard work, lots of details, and that you guys have all kind of persisted through, so that we've got this great opportunity in the Valley. So okay, so I do want to move on though. I want to check in and see, the program's fresh, it's brand new, it really started in January, but is there an update that you can give us on the early days, these first 3 months?
Yeah, so we have our first apprentice was registered in January, because the program was approved last October, and we got it started this January. Our first apprentice is Molly Robertson, and she was a new employee to Cascade. She was an external hire, and she's doing amazing. We are so grateful to have someone who's so motivated and ready to learn every single day, and she's just crushing it.
That's terrific. I love it. Has she been able to share with you? And I know this is, this question is definitely kind of coming out of the blue, but has she been able to share any feedback with you, like, favorite parts, or something that she was not expecting? Anything, any statements that maybe you have from her that you're aware of?
Yeah, so we actually meet weekly just to do some updates, because I like to know personally feedback on how I can improve the program, what's working and what's not working. And she does give me some feedback on if we're giving her a little too much work on the floor, or if we're not giving her enough. And she really likes working our urgent care shifts, which is really good to hear, because as an LVT you have to be able to be well-rounded, and our urgent care is something that is very essential in this area, because we don't have an emergency facility. We do see urgent care and some emergencies, but for her to be able to jump into that position and get going really fast is very essential, especially in this program, because as an LBT, you do need to be trained highly. And she's doing great and she loves those shifts.
That's excellent. That's so good to hear. And really, I think, again, great advertising, right? This licensed vet tech program and apprenticeship is out there and it's working. And, you guys are seeing your hard work pay off. So that's terrific. And she's one, the first beneficiary. So I love that. So we're kind of jumping through this pretty quickly. I actually, you know what? It's funny. This is the second to the last podcast in this round, and for some reason today I feel really nervous. I think it's my flub on the cars. So I don't know what it is, but we are flying through this, and I'm definitely known as a fast talker. So I want to slow it down for a second and give us the opportunity. Is there anything else that you want to share with us today that we didn't discuss, or anything that you want to reiterate, for our guests?
I'll kind of speak about our job shadow program, kind of how Susan was alluding to, partnering with Wenatchee High School. So they have a vet assisting course over there, and I've partnered with them. We have a job shadow program in place that we kind of rebooted last fall, but this spring we're partnering with them. So the students who are in that course have the option to come and shadow for a few hours. We're also opening up this program to any students in the area. And any teachers or instructors who do want to send their students out for observation. This program is great. It actually, I pair students with doctors directly. So instead of pairing them up with one of our support staff, they're actually with the doctor, so they get to go in and they see that interaction that our doctors have with their clients. And they get a t-shirt, we have some name tags, they get a tour of the facilities. It's a really, really great chance for these students to kind of come and see the inner workings of a vet clinic before they make that jump into animal science or applying to vet school. So we have opened this up to high school students, as well as students who may be coming back for the summer for college and they want to see, I graduated for bachelor's, do I want to go into vet school? So this is a really, really great program for anyone who's interested in coming in and observing.
That is terrific. I'm actually taking some notes over here. So the students are paired with the doc. When did they do this? Is it during school time? Is it on a weekend?
We do it Monday through Fridays, just because I like to pair them up with appointments. The urgent care appointments can kind of get a little crazy and hectic, so I like them to be with our general practice wellness exams, just so they have a little bit more time to get to know the doctor, see the inner workings at a slower pace. Some of our job shadow students, when they have a little bit more experience, we can sign them up and get them observing surgeries or an urgent care shift. But normally I do it Monday through Fridays. If a teacher has, a class where they do want to partner with us, we can kind of, work around their schedule and transportation during those class hours.
That's terrific. So what's the process if somebody is interested, a student's interested, how do they go about making that happen?
Yeah, so they will email me. I did put my contact info in the chat.
Yep,
and send me their resume if they have any prior experience observing vet clinics or just their general interest on why they want to be in the program. And then I will email them back and see if we can get them hooked up with a doctor.
All right, that is terrific. Is that option available at all 3 locations?
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'm kind of checking my boxes here on the who, what, when, where, why. That is amazing. When I think of job shadows, I usually think of kind of a one-on-one. If there's a class, a school district with a specific class, could they come as an entirety for maybe a tour or a class field trip day?
Yeah, so I've actually been hosting some tours with the local middle schools. It's roughly about 30 minutes. We kind of do a tour of the back, so they get to see, where the treatment floor is and our ultrasound, dentistry, x-ray. We've been kind of moving those through in 30 minutes. It's a little fast, but I'm open to, scheduling some more tours with more interaction where they can see, maybe we put a dog on the table and ultrasound. So
right.
if anyone is interested in the tours, they can contact me as well.
Okay, great. So what I'd like to make sure that our viewers and listeners are aware of all of this information in terms of like your contact information, the link to your website, any of this specific information. When we're done here and we package up real nicely the video, we'll make sure that we share all of that out as well. So if you're listening, don't feel like you have to backtrack until you can find that that email address or whatnot. I'll make sure it's included with everything. So that's great. This is amazing. I mean, I feel like the entire it's the full meal deal. All right, you've got job shadows, you're open to the tours, you have an assistance program, you've got the licensed vet tech program. I really feel like that 5 years of persistence paid off, because this is definitely an amazing program. I hope that you get some more interest from this interview today and as we move forward. So Susan, I want to make sure I dial back to you again as well. Anything else that you want to add? We're winding down. We've just got about 3 or 4 minutes left, but anything else you want to add for Skillsource?
Yeah, great. I think I would just add that a lot of times we're working with businesses, and right now they're having a challenge finding the workforce that they need. And a lot of businesses will talk about, growing their own, looking at pathways, what can we do? And I think this is a great example of longer term solutions of a business that really dedicated themselves to being part of the solution, and putting resources, along with the resources that we brought to find solutions. And as you mentioned, it's the gamut. They're doing tours. They've done the careers after school or occupation exploration. They're doing the job shadowing. So they're bringing in all these elements and building that pathway from high school, to college, all the way through to seeing individuals be veterinarians. In fact, something that's super fun to go visit Cascade Vet is there are individuals there that started as vet assistants and they are now practicing veterinarians. So they really have put skin in the game when it comes to solving workforce solutions, and continue to do that. And I just think it's a great model for other businesses to think about and look at, and that Skillsource is here to help businesses find solutions. And so we really welcome business and or education partnerships.
Yeah, terrific. Well, again, I'll say it's certainly inspiring and motivational. I can't wait to share this out and really kind of talk about that long game. I mean, hats off to Cascade Vet Clinic for sure. So glad that you guys all stuck with it. Super excited that we can share this out. With the footprint of the NCESD 171, we'll make sure that everybody gets a chance to kind of hear more about it. But I want to say thank you gals. This was super fun. I love the car conversation. Susan, I'm feeling like you need to find one of those old rigs, and we need to bring together the 3 vehicles and maybe have a little reunion.
Do the classy chassis or something, right? Is that what they have here for Apple Blossom?
That's right. Yeah. And I think there's actually a little car show over here in Quincy too for Farmer Consumer Awareness Days. So we might have a better chance of bringing home some gold there. So, all right, ladies. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing all about the Licensed Vet Tech program. Thanks for being our MVPs today. And then for all of you out there, we will be back again next week. It'll be our final episode for the series. We appreciate you joining us, and everybody go make it a great day.